Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry I've been gone so long. This journey takes us, well, into some crazy places sometimes. I am going to be here a lot more often, and I'm also starting a website. So it's going to be some downloadable audios that I've actually already done. I have them. I'm just going to be editing them this week and getting the website set. So there's that. I should be offering some services depending on what you guys are interested in. So if you want to let me know in the comments, that'd be great. Other than that, yeah, I'm excited and looking forward to it. I'll be here as well on YouTube doing more light language and talking as well. So yeah, it's exciting. Also, I know some of you may be aware of a new movement that's going on now through social media, and a lot more people are kind of getting on board with it. They're women. There's a new movement, and I see why this movement's going on now. It's oh so obviously for thousands of years, the patriarchy has been in control, and yeah, and now, since we've been waking up, a lot of the feminine energies have been healing and doing a lot of the inner work, and they've been doing a wonderful job. However, those masculine energies haven't been doing as much of the inner, and I'm not saying all masculines, but there's a lot that haven't been doing as much of that inner healing work. So now we're looking at this whole new movement because that feminine energy's fed up. So I'm not sure if you know, but I think it was about 5 years ago, South Korea, I believe it was, started this movement. And now there really aren't first grade and kindergarten classes in South Korea because women are no longer having children. So the population is going down tremendously in that area. And the government of Korea is trying to pay women to have children at this point, and they are still refusing. So now that trend is happening more here, and you finding women that have done a lot of their healing work deciding to not be in a relationship and to not give men that time and that energy anymore. So this trend is picking up and kind of becoming a viral thing at this point, at least on some social media platforms. And it has a lot to do with the patriarchy and how for thousands of years women have been treated, not just in present day, but in past as well. Women and that feminine energy in general has been healing those traumas and those things. And this is not a man bashing video, just to let you know, but it is going to be talking about these things. I'm going to have to use certain wording that because I am putting this out there, and well, I don't want the video taken down, so I have to watch what I'm saying. But there are a lot of things that have happened in history, but it didn't just happen to women. And I think this is why we see these feminine energies that have been healing. On an energetic level, the feminine has really gone from more of a distorted to a more divine. Now, that's not everywhere, not everyone, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot more that have been healing that. Whereas in the masculine, which the masculine's also more concentrated on 3D things, so them doing that inner work and that energy doing the inner work has been lacking, to say the least. And, you know, I am going to say women because in this case, it is women deciding not to have children. So I will use that word because, you know, technically that is the word to use for that. So it's not to offend anybody. It's just, you know, we're in a situation where single, and I'm not talking about married people and people already in relationships. I'm talking about women who are choosing to remain being single because, and these are the heterosexual women, or, you know, maybe changing now, I don't know. But that's the movement, is they no longer want to date men. They don't want to be in relationships with men. And I think this is something that's going to continue in a trend for a while. So, unless things change, obviously. And I'm not one to love to see the I am not one to love to see the pendulum swing in the opposite direction. I would rather have a centered, balanced approach to everything. I truly do believe we are all one. And I'm not, you know, but at the same time, I see the effects and I see the reasons why these things are happening. And I can't really blame women for this. There, through history, has been a lot of men feeling as if they own women. And, you know, you look thousands of years, you can see it. There's even songs about it. I mean, you take kings, for example, who were their wives with guillotines because they didn't want to be with them anymore. And you see many different things. And this isn't a class thing, so this wasn't just the upper class. This was people without money, people with money, people with control, people without control. But I want to kind of take and hopefully make you understand the masculine energy in this patriarchy and why they fell into these types of being abusive. So, picture you have kingdoms, and you have, even before that, there's emperors, and there's like all these societies tried to take over lands, okay? So they created warriors, soldiers, that type of masculine energy, right? That was created in patriarchal societies where there's that go get, go do. You will be rewarded for conquering and controlling, and those type of behaviors. Those type of behaviors will give you rewards. So just think about that for one moment. And this has been going over and over again. Now, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but they have scientifically proven that your grandmother carried you because the fetus has fully developed eggs. So that DNA, that's 3 generations right there. And every time you've got those 3 generations. So you have to understand that we all have that history in us. Men would come back from these wars and these things wanting to take control of what they considered their domain. So their home environment, their community, which led to abuses, whether it's SA and other types of abuses. When they felt sometimes that they've conquered everything they could conquer, they would discard or unalive these women. Not all the time, but sometimes. Sometimes when those women became discarded and didn't have anybody taking them in, they then, and this is just again a brief history, so we're going through time here, so I've left a lot out because this is just the bird's eye view of this, okay? So those women would take on things, not always, but things like what one considers the oldest profession. So these type of arrangements and things like that started from abusive situations. Then going forward in today's society, we still have these types of abusive situations. When you see through history how the masculine energy was basically expected to behave. And I am certainly not condoning this by any means. This is not okay. I'm just saying these things have been happening through history, so it's actually a big part of that wounding in the masculine, and it's in there so deep, and a lot of them either are trying to run away from it or discard it in some way, where they're just pushing it down, where it comes out in other ways. Obviously, we know from statistics, even nowadays, that women are still suffering from these abuses, whether it's domestically or even from a stranger. They're huge numbers still. And obviously, as a society, we need to stop this. And I understand why this movement's going on. And, I don't know that I necessarily disagree with this movement. I'm not going to put my opinion out there on the movement itself. I just want to explain through history why these things were happening. Women became slaves to their husbands or their partners, and men were slaves to the control power dynamic that the patriarchy created. The thing is, men are not associating today with things like going back to the oldest profession, looking on screens. They believe a lot of times that these women are there not from abusive situations, but from their own thing. But they don't understand that the traumas and things like that are actually not necessarily something that happened in this lifetime, but from the traumas from the past. And women have become, it's kind of like a you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't type of situations, because you've either come from abuse or you're afraid of being abused. You need financial security, you need all these things, yet it just, I don't know, it's sad. And none of those behaviors should be condoned. So men should not be pursuing those type of things. And it does something to the brain. That type of screen time where you're looking at those things and stuff, it actually changes chemicals in the brain. And men have already had so much of that, needing that power, control, that dynamic. And those type of things tend to, they either go with the opposite of being dominated or they want to dominate. So it's still an issue either way on either side. Anyway, this is just kind of examples of masculine energy, how it's been distorted. It started out as masculines were supposed to be the protectors, which obviously has changed. I'm not saying masculines don't protect. I'm not saying all masculines are bad. I'm not saying all men are bad. I'm saying if we look at the bird's eye view of everything that has happened, and this is the patriarchy's fault. It is this type of society that is the issue, that has caused these things. And that's what we need to be looking at. These types of either male dominant or on the opposite of female only dominant, we need to be a balanced society where we are free, where we are not enslaved to our ego, to the power dynamics of our own minds and egos, where we feel we need the control. The truth of the matter is you can only control yourself, and trying to control another being is taking away their freedoms and their free will, which creates enslavement. So, I know that energy needs to heal. I know the feminine energy has done remarkable as far as, there's still things we need to do, but they have been forging that path. That feminine energy has been forging the path for healing. And if you can't see the writing on the wall that the healing needs to be done at this point, I'm not really sure what to tell you. But these movements are being created and happening because of the situations that have happened. You can even look back at the witch wound and see how, and again, this was in a patriarchal society. Women would gather, they would have the herbs and the roots and the flowers that would make tinctures, for example, to treat ailments. And, we lost a lot of those things. They are coming back. People are using herbs to help themselves for many things, but you can even look at it on Western medical things and our big pharma. Like if we hadn't stopped that, if we hadn't had those unalivings of women back then that had that knowledge, who knows what our health care would look like today as far as treatments and things like that. So the patriarchy did a big screw up there as well. There's a lot of it, and we can see it. So the only way to get through this is healing it. And that is the goal, obviously, and knowing we are one. So, yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. And I'm not sitting here blaming men. I see the patriarchy in general as the issue. And a lot of men are upset with the patriarchy and our governments and our, which all leads to the same thing. So I just wanted to put a different perspective in it because I see that men have been enslaved as well. It's not just a woman thing. It's not just a feminine energy thing. It's not just a masculine. It's both of them were enslaved. Both those energies became enslaved. And I think that's something we need to really understand and work on, because the only way to become free is to first understand that and work on it, work on those healing journeys. And anyway, that was my little thought for today. But as I said, the website should be out soon. If you by any chance have some suggestions for what you would like to see on the website, or whether you would like me to do services, drop a comment. And I should have some light language back out here on YouTube let's see, what's today, Tuesday? Should have a video out probably Thursday or Friday, I'm assuming. Okay. And I'll be here more often. So yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Bye.